Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another episode of Let's Go Low right here on AM 820. It's Let's Go Low radio show with your host, Jeff Stanislaw, and our special guest, Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's caddy. Mike is running the caddy corner, and today we're going to talk all things golf, equipment, manufacturing, information on the caddy corner all the time. But today we're going to talk about hitting the road. So, Golfers Unite is putting on a road trip, and I am going from Tampa up into Alabama, over to Mississippi, up into Little Rock area. Then I'm going to hit Kansas City. Then I'm going to go to St. Louis. Then I'm going to go to Nashville, and then probably Johnson City, Tennessee. That's where Mike is, close by. Then I'm going to head up to Michigan. And possibly, if everything's going well, and I can get credentials here for the U.S. Open, might make the leg all the way over to Shinnecock and then head down the East Coast to wrap up my 30 to 45-day epic adventure golf trip by Golfers Unite, which we are going to put together. And we're also going to do some great stuff with Golfers Unite. We're going to raise money for Appreciate Your Service. That's appreciateyourservice.org while we're out on the road. And I'm just talking to Mike a little bit about being on the road. Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's caddy's got a lot of experience in that category. So, Mike, thanks for joining us and setting the tables with Golfers Unite.
Yeah.
You know, when you were a young caddy, it wasn't flying around. It was about getting on the road. Tell us a little bit about how important being on the road was to you.
So, when I've driven across country 8 times, and I started back full time in 81. So I never got on an airplane until 1987. So I drove to every tournament.
Wow.
Okay? So, that's what we did. I mean, back in those days, and especially the early 80s, I mean, some of the purses were $150,000. That was the total purse.
Right. Yeah. You got to do the math. You ain't flying anywhere.
So you had to cut expenses. You had to, you couldn't afford to fly. Even Tom Watson's caddy, Bruce Edwards, Watson was winning everything back in those days. And he was really about the only guy that was really making a lot of money. And even he drove. So, I mean, the travel we drove, like you're getting ready to do, you're getting ready to, embark on a thousands of miles in the car, hotels, eating out every night. And I must say, I mean, I've been retired now for a couple of years, and I miss that a little bit. I enjoy the road trips. I'm actually taking a road trip to you this weekend, so I'll be driving down. So I'm looking forward to that little trip. It's fun, but it's also a grind, right?
Right.
I mean, especially in our country, everything is quick. We want it yesterday. Travel's no different. I want to be there in 2 hours as opposed to 15, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is Mike Hicks. Mike was Payne Stewart's caddy, and he hosts the Caddy Corner here on the Let's Go Low show with Jeff Stanislaw from Golfers Unite. And we're talking about being on the road, which I'm about to embark on an epic road journey here. I'm around May 7th, taking me through possibly the U.S. Open up in Shinnecock in Long Island, and then back down the coast. We're just talking about being on the road has a special feeling, though, too. You can really connect with the community. I would imagine you traveled and toured with other caddies as you were going to tournament to tournament and building relationships. Part of my main focus is 2 reasons to get back on the road. Is one, just me, myself, my truck, my laptop, my phone, and just stopping at munis and really talking to real golfers, meeting some friends that I've got connected with on social media, through my epic road trip. And I just really excited about helping to grow the game and get connected. Tell us a little bit about the relationships that you built while you were on the road.
Well, I mean, when I first started, there were about 60 guys that traveled each week. So, it was only 60 of us that were jumping in cars and driving to the next stop. So you got to know everybody. Everybody knew everybody, right? And as the years go on, I mean, it went on, it became more of a lucrative occupation. And now in today's world, you got caddies making millions of dollars a year. But, I made so many, met so many people that I still keep in touch with to this day, all around the country. Friends that, each year stay at their home, or, when they'd come back east, if they were on the West Coast, they would, come and visit me. So relationships all over the country that I built over the years. And like I said before, I kind of miss a little bit of that. I miss a little bit of that travel, jumping in the car and, driving the 1,000 miles, and as a caddy, man, I don't know how you're going to do it, but, I went point A to point B as quick as I could. That was our mentality.
I don't know how I'm going to do it either, Mike.
And I have the speeding tickets to prove it. Trust me, over the years.
Yeah. Wanted man in a couple of states, probably.
No, not wanted, but but it was always somebody always knew somebody, especially after I caddied for Payne and had success we did. I had many tickets just disappear just because of who I was and my relationship with Payne Stewart. Somebody always knows somebody that likes golf, that's in the judicial system, that can take care of those things, right?
There you go. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to Let's Go Low here on AM 820, Tampa, the Big 8. We appreciate you guys tuning in very much every week here to the Let's Go Low show, and our special episode with Mike Hicks in the Caddies Corner. For that, we would like to share with you a special offer at foundgolfballs.com. You go to foundgolfballs.com, enter the promo code GolfersUnite20, and you can save 20% on your next purchase of some new to you golf balls. But they have some really, really tight stuff. They can't sell them new, but they have pristine balls that look like they just came out of the package. So thanks again for listening to Let's Go Low, and we want to share that with you. Now back to the road, Mike. The windshield time and the mental time that you have to really think about it. How much time did you really just think about improving Payne's game, or running through like the last tournament that you came off of, making notes and stuff like that? I would imagine it was a lot of good time for you to kind of really strategize and think through things and then plan ahead to the next tournament that you're playing.
Well, I think when you're in the car and you're driving, I mean, the positive stuff, obviously you're, if you just won a tournament, you're probably sucking down a couple of beers, and, you got a couple of people with you, and they'll drive while you suck.
Yeah, there you go. If you won you get to ride, right? If you lost, you had to drive.
Yeah, right. So you're in a good place, but the ones the mistakes, that's really where you would, start to second guess yourself and really think about the mistakes you made, whether it been a bad club or misjudging the wind. The mistakes is where you'd really beat yourself up over.
Sure.
If it had cost you, say a top 10 or maybe even a win, right? So, the positive stuff, you're just, you're happy. You think about that a little bit. It was always the negative stuff for me anyway, that, the what ifs, if we'd have done this, we'd have done that, would the outcome have been different, more in our favor. So, but yeah, you're right. There's a lot of time to reflect, when you're taking those long drives, and
a lot of time to plan ahead too. So that's what my goal is. So this is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to Let's Go Low here. We're talking a little bit about road trips with the Caddy Corner host, Mike Payne Stewart's caddy. And, Mike, one of the things that I want to do is with Golfers Unite, just try to really focus on the vision. Where do we want to take it? Work on the business plan and garnish some, great relationships and meet some people on the way. Also, while raising money. So we're going to raise money for Appreciate Your Service, and you can let's find out more about that at appreciateyourservice.org. It is a nonprofit, and we help veterans and first responders with their automotive car care needs. And we've given away 3 cars already, and we hope to do a 4th because of this road trip. And so we're documenting everything. We'd love to have you guys engage. Go to golfersunite.com/road trip. That's golfersunite.com/road trip. We're going to have the maps there. We're going to have the, blog posts and the updates there. We're going to have some prizes and some giveaways, and you're going to be able to donate to help the charity. So that's it's golfersunite.com/road trip. Mike, moving forward in your thought process, after the road show, you beat yourself up, probably in the short term, maybe for the half the leg on the drive there, but then you get to that halfway point and you're going to the next tournament. So you got to shift your mindset to what's moving forward with you.
Yeah. And you always knew, if you were going to a stop that whoever you're caddying for has had success at, likes the place, is going to be going in there with a good mindset. And let's just say you've had a good week, a good, finish, a top 10 finish. So his game is in good shape. Then you start thinking about okay, if things go our way, lots of things have to go your way when you win a tournament. There's breaks, there's, the side of the draw when, you might get lucky and not have wind. Whereas the guy, you might have the wrong side of the draw and have wind. So a lot of factors go into it when you do win a tournament. But if your guy's going in there playing good and he likes the place, you're going to go in there and probably have a good week.
You can also probably pick up the feeling for the momentum that's going on, as your player kind of is coming off, some better finishes, striking the ball better, more confident. I would imagine, when you went into the U.S. Open in '99, you had some momentum going. So you probably felt really good and real confident going into that. Why don't you tell us just briefly about that confidence?
Well, we really didn't have momentum going. I mean, he had missed the cut at Memphis. So, but he was also, and we both acknowledged the fact that we were thinking ahead to Pinehurst. Because he told me on Sunday, he said, you didn't do a very good job last week. And I said, I'm sorry, but I was focusing more on this week. And he's like, yeah, I hear you. I was too. So we both acknowledged the fact that we were thinking ahead. Now, prior to those couple of weeks, he had, I don't know what we had finished. We had,
right?
But he had done okay. I mean, he was playing good. We knew that. I mean, we knew that he was, he wasn't struggling with his swing. And, like I said before, the last week's show, the focus wasn't there because of the intermediate, not picking his intermediate target out. So, we didn't have Mo going in there because we missed the cut, but we weren't too worried about if we were going to have a chance or not, because we knew that he was, he had control of his golf ball.
Right. And then you had a tie right before at Olympia, right? As well. So you had a chance to win that.
98, we at Olympic Club, we lost to Jansen. We led the whole week. And, and that week in 98 basically proved to him that he could still do it. He was coming out of a contract with Top Flight. It was over. We knew in 99 he was going to play whatever he wanted, back to a Titleist golf ball, Mizuno irons, whatever he wanted to play. So we knew 99 was going to be a better year than he had the previous 5 years with the Top Flight stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. We're talking with Mike Hicks. Mike is our host and special guest on the Let's Go Low show every week with the Caddies Corner. Well, most every week. Sometimes he's traveling and what have you. We try to do our best to get him on because he's got so much knowledge in the 40 plus years of being on the tour and being with professionals and other professional caddies that it's fantastic that he's here with us every week. And we all should appreciate his time. And for that, we do appreciate it. Mike, thanks again for joining us here on the Let's Go Low show. This is your host, Jeff Stanislow from Golfers Unite. And as a thank you for listening, if you want to get some new to you golf balls and save a bunch of money, go to foundgolfballs.com, enter the promo code GolfersUnite20. That's foundgolfballs.com. The promo code is GolfersUnite20. And get some new to you golf balls at a tremendous amount of savings. Again, thanks for tuning in to another great episode of Let's Go Low, brought to you by Golfers Unite and our friends at AMAC, the Association of Mature Adult Citizens. That's amac.us. Until next time, hit them straight and go low. Hello, everybody. This is Jeff Stanislow, and you're listening to another episode of Let's Go Low right here on AM 820, the Big 8 in Tampa. We'd like to thank you very much for tuning in. We're doing a lot of episodes every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And today we're talking more golf and the golf industry. And one of the biggest things in the golf industry is the golf ball. So I'm pleased to announce that we have Sean Scheinfeld with us. He's the co-founder of foundgolfballs.com, and we're going to talk about the whole golf ball industry and what it is, and kind of peel back the onions and peel back the layers of the golf ball itself. Sean, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, that's great, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
So Sean, everybody hits the pills, everybody loses the pills, and it's a big industry. The golf ball manufacturing, from the 800-pound gorilla of Titleist and the Pro V1 ball, to, people going into the woods and digging for balls and finding their own after they lose them and then holding on to them. So you play in the space of those guys that find the balls, and maybe they live on a golf course and they collect them and they have bushels of them in their garage, to refurbishing them, redoing them, and then getting back out to the marketplace. Is that correct?
That's correct. So every year we bring in about 10 million used golf balls. We clean them, we brand sort them into the different brands: Titleist, Callaway, Maxfly, Nike, Bridgestone, every brand, Vice. And then we type sort those brands into about 10 different models. So within Titleist, you have your True Feel, your Tour Soft, your Pro V, and we go deeper. We go by generation. We go from 25 to 23, 20, 18. And then we de-logo them, meaning we separate the logo balls from the non-logo balls, and we sell them on our website, foundgolfballs.com, for about 50 to 80% off of new golf balls.
Fantastic. Sean, that's really interesting. 10 million golf balls you guys move, and how do you know which golf balls from which generation? When you grab a ball and you get it, and like your guys are going through your systems, maybe we could talk a little bit about the process as well. But how do you classify the golf balls by generation?
It's a great question. So every manufacturer, for example, Titleist Pro V1, on the side seam has a different color. And the different color represents a different iteration. It's also the style, the aesthetics of the line of the side seam. So our team is trained to examine every single golf ball that we touch to put it into the specific generation. So a 25 will have a dot on the left versus a 23 on the right. So we have to be very particular, because golfers, as you know, are very particular. And that's what separates us a lot from the competition, is that we go that extra step, and by separating the generation and taking the logos out.
That is pretty cool. We're talking with Sean Scheinfeld, and Sean is the co-founder of foundgolfballs.com. This episode of Let's Go Low Show is brought to you by Golfers Unite, and our friends at Back Nine Golf, and our friends at AMAC, the Association of Mature Adult Citizens, amac.us. Following up on that question, Sean, we got 10 million golf balls. You guys separate them by generations, which is incredible. I mean, tell us a little bit about the facility that does that. And then people are looking at by hand, and where's the facility at?
So right now we have two facilities, one in Anaheim, California, where the raw product comes in from the southwestern United States, namely Arizona, California, and Florida, and Texas. And it comes into our California plant. We have about 15 people there grading the golf balls. So it goes through a washing machine, a washing cycle, and then so it gets all the dirt off and all the impracticals, and then it gets graded. It gets brand sorted at that point into Titleist and the different brands. Then they get shipped to our head office, our factory, which is here in Toronto, Canada. We bring about 250,000 golf balls in every 2 weeks. And from that point on, then we'll start the brand sorting, the type sorting, the generations, and then we'll pick, pack, and ship the golf balls. We have about 15 employees here in Toronto, and we pick, pack, and ship about 350 orders every single day to golfers.
That's fantastic. We're talking with Sean Scheinfeld, co-founder of foundgolfballs.com, and Sean has been generous enough to give our listeners at Golfers Unite a promo code. So if you go to foundgolfballs.com and you go to golf and you enter the code GolfersUnite20, you can save 20% at foundgolfballs.com. That is GolfersUnite20 at foundgolfballs.com.
The other
Sean,
thing that separates us, I just wanted to mention, is we can customize the golf balls. We can put your logo, for example, your name, your initials on the highest quality golf balls that we sell are pristine quality. So that also separates us in the fact that we offer a free logo on your golf balls when you order the highest quality, the pristine golf balls.
That's amazing. Everybody kind of talks about putting logos on the golf balls, and I know Titleist usually has some special here and there. You buy 3 dozen and you can get a logoed ball. They do that once or twice a year, and but usually it's like $1 or $2 to put the logo on a golf ball. And you guys will do that if someone buys your pristine golf balls at foundgolfballs.com.
That's correct. So we have 4 levels. We have our pristine, which are perfectly new golf balls. They look like they just came out of the sleeve. Those qualify for free customization, or you can just order them as is. Then we have our mint, which is 1 grade below, which just means that there's some logos, pre-logos on the golf balls, and maybe a minor ink mark. Then you have your 4A grade A, then your 3A practice balls. And even the 3A practice balls are good for the everyday golfer, the 4A for the everyday golfer who has a high handicap, who doesn't want to break the bank, who wants to save 80% off new golf balls. I would encourage that 4A level for those players.
Wonderful. Giving some good insight in regards to the type of golf ball to play. I love it. We're talking with Sean Scheinfeld, the co-founder of foundgolfballs.com. You're listening to Jeff Stanislaw, a host of Let's Go Low here on AM 820, the Big 8, every Saturday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. We encourage you to share this great stories with your listeners. And we also encourage you to go check out foundgolfballs.com and enter the promo code GolfersUnite20 and save an additional 20% off on all those great golf balls. Sean, diving a little bit deeper, some people have hesitation about buying a new golf ball versus a used golf ball. And you said your pristine ones are, almost new. You know what I mean? You can't resell them as new. You can't put them in the package. You can't sell them back to Titleist. Just tell us a little bit about, how many of those you sell. Like, you have 4 categories. Where do most of your purchases come from?
So 5% of the golf balls make the cut pristine. Only 5% out of the 10 million golf balls. So we're very strict on the quality, and they have to be looking brand new, not even an ink mark. So only 5, and then we go about 30% to mint, and then near mint, and then 3A. Some of the 3As we will refinish. We'll send to a factory in Ohio where we refinish them, and they're marked refinish on the golf balls. But the recycled balls that are pristine have literally been hit once. Once you hit a ball once, it's a used golf ball. So that this is we call them one-hit wonders. That's basically what they are.
I love it. One-hit wonders. I have a few of those in my bag for sure.
Exactly. And it's like a cow. I mean, every part of the cow, you have the filet mignon, right, which is the pristine, right? You have the rib steak. Then you have the lower parts of the cow, like the chuck, and there, which is like your Maxfly noodles and maybe your older Kirkland balls. So every part of the cow gets sold off. Every part of the golf ball gets sold off. Different brands.
Yeah. And then do you guys take it down to, like, let's say there's a golf ball you guys can't use or you don't send to the refurbishing thing. What do you do with it then? Do you guys have someone that comes and takes them and then they basically, I don't know, you can't really compost
So
a golf
every
ball.
every golf ball gets sold, Jeff. Even the we call them hit away golf balls. And if they sell for 15 cents a ball, they get sold. It's just that rump of the cow. But every piece of the cow is being
Maybe the
utilized.
cow, the excrements of the cow, right?
Nothing. It could be a hot dog, but nothing is being wasted. So yes, it's just something we don't discard any unless the ball's literally cut in half. Then it will be garbage. But 99.9% of the balls are sold.
No. Wow. I did not realize it. That's really interesting. We're talking with Sean Seinfeld. Sean is the co-founder of foundgolfballs.com, doing 10 million used golf balls a year. How many new golf balls are purchased in a year? If you guys are doing 10 million, I'm just curious if, through all the
Well,
brand.
yeah. The data out there was 150 million to 200 million from what I understand being sold.
Okay.
So, we're not the only cat in the game, but what separates us is we're very stringent on our quality. We stand behind our product 100%. Free shipping on any orders over $89, and free return. So we're 100% behind our product. If somebody is not happy, we give them a return label, exchange or return, no questions asked. There's definitely a huge guarantee in that industry for us.
Thanks, Sean. This is Jeff Stanislow. You're listening to another great episode of Let's Go Low right here on AM 820, brought to you by our friends at Back Nine Carrollwood. Back Nine Carrollwood, you can just search it up and check out their great simulators with the TGLs. Our friends at golfersunite.com and our friends at AMAC, the Association of Mature Adult Citizens. It's amac.us. Sean, you mentioned something that was kind of interesting. So, 150 million balls sold. You guys are doing 10 million on yours. That's a lot of golf balls in this industry. Everybody has to have one to play with. How'd you get started in the business? What led you down this path?
Yeah, so in 1997, my father, Gary, who was a serial entrepreneur, and he used to buy bankruptcies and closeouts. And one of the deals was used golf balls that somebody needed funding for to fund our local retailer. And my dad invested, I think it was $5,000 at the time as he funded the golf balls. And he loved the idea, and he partnered up with him. And then and then he brought it home, and I was 18 years old at the time. Before the internet existed, we started golf balls by fax. We would fax out order forms and direct mail. And customers would send cash at that time in the mail. I remember sitting on their front steps with my dad, and we were opening up the order form. Titleist professional golf balls, Titleist Tour Balata with your compression, your 90 compression, 3 dozen golf balls, $100 US cash. We were just opening it up and mailing it out. Then we did golf balls by fax, and that evolved into our first e-commerce website in 1999, just around when Amazon and eBay were coming out. Our first website was called KNet Golf, and we grew that, and that was the first iteration of it, and then it morphed into Found Golf Balls in 2014.
Fantastic. We're talking with Sean Scheinfeld, co-founder of foundgolfballs.com. In my search and in working and selecting partners, one of the things that I was looking for was that quality golf ball, was that quality people behind it. And I found foundgolfballs.com, and the relationship has grown. And if you want an additional 20% off at foundgolfballs.com, just enter the promo code GolfersUnite20 in your checkout. Sean, we got another minute or two and wanted to kind of, dive in a little bit more. let's talk about the golf ball itself and some of these rumors that the PGA is actually going to change the golf ball. You know, I would imagine you guys are in this and really understand it. What are your thoughts on them changing the golf ball? I don't like it myself personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I'm a creature of habit, and obviously change is part of life. It's the only inevitable thing, but I think that you know that is not going to be a great thing for the industry. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We have to roll with the changes as well. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens. It's very interesting. I'm not a huge fan, to be honest.
Yeah, the change in the golf ball. It's like, okay, well, what's next? The change in the club. What's
Right.
next? I'm not gonna not let tour players work out so much. So
Exactly. No, it's
where does it end, and how do they curtail it? I don't know any other sport that really just says, hey, we want to really limit the performance of our professionals. And everybody loves to see the long ball. Everybody loves to see Bryson, hit those massive drives, and that drive that Cam Smith hit at the Players,
that.
a little while back, on
Yes.
375 to win that tournament. That's what the people love. The fans and the enthusiasts of golf love that. So, in short, one more time, Sean, tell us how they can find you, and the promo code that we set up for our listeners.
So they can find us on foundgolfballs.com, and it's found like I lost something. FOUND golfballs.com. And we're offering right now 20% off for your listeners for the year. And that code is going to be Golfers Unite 20, GOLFERSUNITE 20. And that's good for the year. And that is a 5% increase out of what everybody gets. So this is a limited coupon offer, and it's a great deal.
Fantastic. Sean Scheinfeld, co-founder of foundgolfballs.com. We appreciate your time, and thanks you all for listening to another episode of Let's Go Low. This is your host, Jeff Stanislaw with Golfers Unite. Hello, everybody. This is Jeff Stanislaw, and it's time for another episode of Let's Go Low here on AM 820, Tampa's Big 8 Radio. We thank you for joining us. We're talking golf, and we got special guests with us today, our friends from Gray Dog Golf, and we're talking about sports writing, sports content, and what have you. We have with us today. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us, Jeff. Looking forward to talking with you.
Hello, Jeff. Yeah, Wes Allen and Tom Clifford here. They are the founders of Gray Dog Golf. And let's start off with something simple. Tell us what Gray Dog Golf is all about.
We are a content provider, Jeff, for focusing exclusively on the senior golf market. Now, what does that mean? Senior golf is typically described as guys over and gals over 50. We found that the content that we provide, because it's specifically focused on the aging population in golf, morphs anywhere from the mid-40s all the way up to the finish. When Tommy and I started this project, we discovered that there was no content provider that was focusing exclusively on, frankly, what is the largest individual segment of measurable golfers. And after a couple years now, if you told us a couple years ago that we'd publish an article and 40 or 45,000 people would read it the next day, we would have said you're out of your mind. But here we are. Tommy?
Yeah, I think that we wrestled around with how to define our market, and senior is the traditional term that's used. We like to say the maturing market, because we're finding a following that skews younger than our initial thought was. As Wes said, in mid-40s, people start experiencing some of the things that we did when Wes and I first started talking about this whole concept. And that is, you don't hit it as far. You can't advance the ball out of the rough with any reliability anymore. Your body aches a little bit after 18 holes of golf, I'm ashamed to say. Those kinds of things. And that resonates with certainly with the traditional senior audience, but with, as I said, we call a maturing audience, a little bit younger.
Yeah, certainly. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to another episode of Let's Go Low here on AM 820, The Big Eight, brought to you by AMAC, the Association of Mature Adult Citizens, amac.us, and Golfers Unite. So we're talking with Wes Allen and Tom Clifford, the founders of Grey Dog Golf, who actually write content that supports the maturing adult citizen in the game of golf. So you guys have been doing this for a while, and you wrote a lot of articles and did a lot of research on this marketplace. What is one of the underlining themes of a maturing golfer that kind of like maybe comes up to the top of your mind that the maturing golfer wants in their golf game?
Yeah, let me jump in on this, Jeff, because this is important. You said something about research. That's my forte. I love researching and doing deep dive data analysis, and we do. We say that nobody tests like we do, and the reason is that Tommy, who sort of drives our direction, is always focused on this word about applicability. And what does that mean? Well, it's in simple terms for the average golfer, it means that we're not testing golf clubs at 110, 115, 120 mile an hour swing speeds. It just doesn't matter to our audience. So we keep it real. Our trademarked and copyrighted tagline, "Play smarter, better for longer," really does talk to an understanding of what you're able to do and an embracing of that. But Tommy's key word, and he can touch on this, is applicability. He's constantly telling me, he goes, "Wes, appreciate all that deep dive. A, nobody's going to read it. B, nobody cares. And C, can we get back to focusing on the guy that swings his driver at 90 miles an hour? And can you give me something on the importance of keeping it in the fairway?"
I love it. I love it. Tom Clifford, one of the founders of Grey Dog Golf. Let's talk about that applicability. You're listening to Jeff Stanislaw here on the Let's Go Low show.
Yeah. So as Wes said, he is a research fanatic. He's an analytical nut, if you ask me. So he'll go down a rabbit hole and he'll come back to me with, some avenue that he's thinking about. And hey, wouldn't this be really neat? And I kind of, respectfully have to redirect him and say, what does it mean to the maturing golfer, our audience? People are talking about the 24-year-old golfer all over the map, right? We are very, very specialized and focused on the maturing golfer. That's our audience. And as Wes said, we want to help people to play smarter, better, for longer. So we can't overpower a golf course anymore. We have to manage our way more strategically, more mentally around the golf course. And we can still go low, but we have to do it in a different way than we're used to doing.
Yeah, I love it. Right. I love it. We can still go low. I mean, that is a real key to a maturing golf swing. Is you may not hit it as far. You may not be able to make that carry over the water, at 220 anymore, but right. You can still play the game. You can still play it effectively. We're talking with Tom Clifford and Wes Allen, the founders of Grey Dog Golf. They provide a lot of research and data and analytics and applicability, as Tom likes to call it, into a mature swing. So we appreciate you guys coming on to the Let's Go Low show here, brought to you by Golfers Unite and our friends at amac.us, the Association of Mature Adult Citizens. This is your host, Jeff Stanislaw. All right, you guys do the data, you crunch the numbers. Let's talk about the 90 mile an hour, 85 mile an hour swing speed that a mature adult citizen has. What are you finding are the best clubs that fit this kind of swing speed, that the shafts, what have you? The floor is yours.
I think that the key thing that we've found over the last couple of years in doing this, and it's also important to preface this by saying that, I've been in the golf industry as an investor or an owner for 37 years, and I've seen all of the companies come and rise and go, and that is not a statement of boasting, but that's a statement of just what we've seen and what we've learned from it. You mentioned shafts. We've been down this road countless times in the last few years, and one of the things that we've come up with is this: there is a shaft for you, but it's for you. It's not for me. It's not for you. And what does that mean? Test them all. Test them for different segments of your golf bag, for example. Now, you may be a 70-year-old guy, but I have seen many times where a lightweight, stiff shaft for a 70-year-old is perfect, because it's about your swing type. And what we've done, and what Tommy has particularly done, is we drive these manufacturers hard to address our market. We really beat the daylights out of them. We work with them all. We travel to see them. They come to see us, but we pound on them to develop product for the biggest market in golf. And Tommy should talk about that. Actually, this is the biggest segment in active golf.
Yeah, this is Jeff Stanislow. You're listening to our friends Wes Allen and Tom Clifford at Grey Dog Golf. We're talking a little bit about the maturing citizens swing speed and maybe finding the right club for them. And it's not just like, hey, let's go buy XXIO or XEO, as some people call it, because they're marketing that. It's about finding the right shaft for the right swing speed. And you recommend people, go get fitted and tested for that. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So we're big advocates of whatever the state of your game is. First of all, work with a good teaching pro who understands the limitations of, say, a 50-year-old golfer and his swing versus a very nimble 22-year-old golfer. So work with a pro that understands your limitations, that's going to take the time with you, but then also work with a club fitter that has an equal understanding. And sometimes that teaching pro and the fitter can work together to find the best solution for your swing, whatever it may be. And as Wes said, there are so many different options right now. I recently did a little video in my little workshop downstairs, and I've got, I don't know, hundreds of clubs. Most of them they were hand-me-downs from Wes anyway, but hundreds of clubs just sitting in bags that, so-and-so hit this one pretty good. Let me try that out. Or I like the look of this one. Let me try that out. No science behind it at all. But we've come to the conclusion, and on all of this research that we've done, is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are specialists out there. Find a good one that works with you. Doesn't cost a lot of money. In fact, in the long run, it's going to save you money, because you're not going to waste money chasing the latest widget or the latest club that you saw a tour pro use, which has a swing that has nothing in common with you. Let me just go back for a second to what Wes mentioned about, this is the biggest single market in golf. Fully 52% of every dollar that's spent in the golf industry, and we're talking about balls, clubs, shafts, lessons, fittings, tee times, cart fees. Fully 52% of that comes from golfers that are in our segment, that are older than, I don't know exactly the number Wes would tell you, but 47 years old and up.
That's good.
And those folks are playing a lot longer than they used to. Wes, what's that statistic that you like to cite about age 55 and older?
Oh yeah. So 55. Yeah. In simple terms, Jeff, 55 55 cents out of every dollar is spent in golf is spent by a guy that's 55 and over. And
Oh,
that,
the 55, the double nickel quote. I like it. I
yeah,
like it.
the double nickel quotes, right? The Tommy is a big advocate for a big advocate. It is a contradictory term, but a big advocate for dispelling the myth of or the fallacy or the weakness in the grow your game statement. Now we're all for it. We get it. Grow your game. Get the young people involved in golf. This is a fabulous enterprise, and we support it wholeheartedly. As a matter of fact, again, I was one of the original contributors to First Tee. Way back when the PGA Tour brought it to us, I said, yes, we'll get in on this.
Fantastic.
Here's what you have to understand. Grow Your Game is funded by Grey Dog golfers, the senior market. We get it. Frequent rounds of golf last year, Jeff, our category was number one.
Right.
In frequent rounds of golf played, the 32 million rounds of golf played in the category of frequent golfers, 14.6 million of those were from golfers over 50 years old.
Wow.
So
The
we
powerful
have-
market segment. That's for
Right.
sure. This is Jeff Stanislow, and you're listening to Let's Go Low here on AM 820, the Big Eight. And our special guests is Wes Allen and Tom Clifford from Grey Dog Golf joining us here today. This segment's brought to you by golfersunite.com and our friends at amac.us. We got a minute or two left here, gentlemen. In your research, and I'd love to have you guys come back and we maybe make this kind of a something we do, quite often and talk about this because you guys have the data, you have the resources, you have the content that we would love to share with our listening audience. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. If you had to choose a ball, what ball would you choose? And if you had to choose a club as a 55-year-old person that swings the club 90 miles an hour, what are the couple ones that you would recommend? And then also tell us how someone can find more of your stories and more of your information or reach out and contact you. We got about a minute left.
Sure. Well, again, we're huge advocates of fitting. It's hard to give a recommendation for a single club or a single ball that covers, the universe. But, we also talk about getting fit for a ball. Get out on the golf course around the green. We know that 70% of all of our strokes in a round happen within 70 yards of the hole. So you're going to chase distance for a ball that you hit off of a tee about 14 times with your driver, right? Instead, go out there, practice with a couple of different balls that you think you like around the green. Start on the green. What gives you the most confidence in putting on the green and around the green? 70% of our shots happen within 70 yards. Why would you not find the best ball that does what you want it to do in that space? Okay. So we like vice golf.
Oh, you guys are giving me the politically correct answer. The no answer. I love it.
No.
Hey guys, Tom Clifford, Wes Allen from Grey Dog Golf. You guys want to check out their great content? I suggest you do. You can just search up Grey Dog Golf. They'll be found. This is another episode of Let's Go Low here with Jeff Stanislow, brought to you by golfersunite.com and our friends at amac.us. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time, and I definitely want to have you back on to talk some more information. Does that sound good to you?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's definitely do it. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.